So Oscar is usually looked at as a very aggressive opper, and in my opinion, he isn't. So right here, he's flashing top mid, which is going to kind of keep people from pushing. And he's able to just post up on the angle top mid. And then he knows that at that point, somebody could be peeking palace, so he turns around and kills that. He ends up taking back connector control and even looking underpass. He's just really aware that there's a bunch of map control that's up for the taking, and he's going to just take it. This next round to me is just classic Oscar. So what ends up happening is Chris J and Oscar go into a pretty default setup towards mid. And after a short amount of time, Oscar realizes Nip isn't sending tons of nades or people aren't shooting through the smoke. So there probably aren't people top mid. And because of that, he feels comfortable to drop down mid and end up pushing it. And what happens is he catches Draken completely off guard. He is not holding for this. And Oscar gets a really free kill. So that's one of the times where you're going to see Oscar actually peeking into someone. And as he's falling back, he does another really good thing where he doesn't tunnel vision on falling back like a lot of other oppers. So he ends up getting another kill while he's still kind of pushed up. So this next round, I'm just going to kind of compare what Oscar does to what probably most teams would have their opper do on these types of rounds. So a lot of teams would have their oppers play extremely passive, but Oscar ends up actually kind of taking initiative and getting a ton of information by jumping underpass. He's still playing very safe, and actually jumping underpass wasn't very risky because of the timing when he jumped. But he just plays very safe. He's playing retake and connector, and he ends up killing the bomb planter by doing that. In this round, Oscar goes into another pretty default setup into window. After he gets a kill, he ends up getting mollied back. And instead of throwing a smoke that would give him a 100% safe exit, he ends up throwing a smoke that lets him hold another angle and would possibly get him another kill. He doesn't tunnel vision on falling back, so if there was someone there, he would have been able to kill him. Here's one of the few rounds where you'll actually see Oscar do something extremely aggressive. So he ends up pushing mid right off the spawn and ends up killing Draken. And it looks really aggressive and really risky, but actually Sunny is in window and Chris J did the cat jump. So there's really 3 people mid when he does that. So he has a lot of backup. Here Oscar shows off his counter to a window smoke. He throws a Molotov that lands by bricks, which gives him enough time to jump on the little wood thing and peek top mid. I think at this point he realized he had 2 teammates peeking mid with him, and he decides to re-peek, which is something you rarely see from Oscar. It's pretty uncommon to see him peeking into someone. When his teammate dies connector, he ends up picking that back up. He's really all about like taking map control and keeping it. So this round he throws a Molotov again and it actually pays off. But I think Hellraisers heard that their smoke hit a Molotov and they decide not to peek. It's really interesting to see that Molotov because Oscar doesn't throw it against every single team. He seems to know which teams throw the window smoke more than others. In this round, Oscar really only peeks when he has to. So he starts off holding ramp, then he goes to stairs, and once Angel gets really close, he ends up having to peek, otherwise Robs probably would have died. So he peeks, saving both of them. He ends up flashing over, and he could have ended up peeking Woxic, but he just doesn't do that. So that's kind of Oscar in a nutshell. He'll peek angles very aggressively if no one is there yet, and he has a really good idea of when people are going to be there. So it really looks like he's an aggressive opper because he's in aggressive positions, but in my opinion he's not an aggressive opper because he's rarely actually peeking into other people's angles.